So how do you know that Sam Altman is selling AI hype? Well, if his lips are moving. But seriously, folks, OpenAI CEO just claimed that ChatGPT 5 will replace 25% of developers by 2026. Now, I roll, like I possibly can't roll my eyes here strong enough. That's 1 in every 4 programmers will be gone by 2026. So meanwhile, their actual revenue shows that people are using ChatGPT mostly for, here's the wait for it, homework help and recipe suggestions. So after watching the same playbook for decades, I'm calling BS on these wild promises. Why are corporations eating this up while real developers are just rolling their eyes? Today I'm exposing some of the biggest lies by you-know-who and OpenAI's latest hype campaign and why coding is their desperate corporate cash grab. Let's jump into this today. Welcome to Startup Hack. I'm Spencer, and here at Startup Hack, we love to train software developers and build custom software solutions for a company. With a decade of executive leadership as a fractional CTO and 25 years in software development, I've mastered transforming tech teams and products. All right, so Sam Altman is at it again with yet more empty promises about AI replacing developers. The hype machine is running in overtime, but the reality, OpenAI's actual data shows that people are using ChatGPT for basic tasks while they're claiming it's going to revolutionize coding. So let's dive down into these claims today, and I'm going to tear these apart bit by bit. So let me jump over here to this article really fast here. So Sam Altman says GPT-5 will replace 1 in 4 developers by 2026. Coding with GPT-5, was it better than devs? So he comes out and he was like, rip developers, right? And he says this is for real. Like he's saying the actual reality of it is that GPT, and this author is saying GPT just regurgitates patterns, smart patterns, yes, but often without understanding. And of course, that's the point. And that's what I've been saying here for a long time, right? Human devs, well, we bring creativity, right? Reality, speed isn't everything. A faster coder who understands context is just faster way to make mistakes. So this guy that's writing this article here, shout out to Mark Henry here. He wrote a great article about this, and I just kind of want to dive into my thoughts on this a little bit more. So Altman claims that GPT-5 will replace a quarter of all developers by 2026. That's supposedly happening in just over a year from now. This prediction conveniently targets coding because it's the perfect corporate sell. Executives love the idea of cutting their highest paid technical staff. OpenAI's own usage data shows that only 18% of use GPT for any kind of special info, which includes coding help. So the majority of the actual usage seeking general information at 21%, with homework and recipes being major use cases. They're pitching entire enterprise dreams while their product is mostly helping kids cheat on essays. So if AI was really replacing developers, why are software engineer salaries still climbing and demand still outpacing supply? Now, before I go any deeper, my favorite thing, as you all know, is when you guys drop a comment down below. If you're just saying hi or whatever, I read them all, and I'd love to get your comments. So make sure you comment down below. It's my favorite thing, and it makes my day. Now, OpenAI is sharing 8% of their revenue with Microsoft and partners, according to Reuters. That's just a tiny slice for such a revolutionary technology. They're burning through billions while actually profitable tech companies are laying off their AI teams. The revenue split reveals they're desperate for corporate partnerships because consumer adoption isn't going to meet the revenue demand they need to have. Remember when they claimed that ChatGPT would transform every industry? Now they're laser focused on coding because this is where the money in corporations is. Corporate executives here replace developers and immediately see dollar signs, making it the easiest pitch. So my contacts in enterprise sales tell me that OpenAI reps are practically giving away enterprise licenses just to show growth numbers in the corporate space. Now, Sherwood News is one of, I follow lots of different news articles, but let's kind of go through this a little bit because I think this is really telling. Here's how people are actually using ChatGPT. So some of the biggest takeaways: 70% of all queries were not work related. See, this is exactly what GPT doesn't want to hear. They want to hear that it's being used in corporations, that it's driving in revenue, but really it's people talking because they're lonely, right? So 70% of all queries were not work-related. That number may send a chill down the spine of big tech as it's betting on enterprise AI. See, I'm not the only one saying this here, folks. Among work-related messages, the most common use for GPT is writing. Not software, but writing. Writing queries made up 42% of work-related messages and 52% of all messages from users who work in businesses and management. About 49% of all questions were classified as asking for guidance, advice, or information. So it wasn't even on concrete things. Female users contributed more than half of all the queries as of July 2025. This is a huge shift from early on when it was all males. Youth love it. Half of all messages from adults under 26. The OpenAI research took a random sample of about 1 million messages from May to June. So this is a recent study that we're studying. Now, the thing that's interesting about this, and you can break all this down, but the one that I really want to highlight is this one that's kind of behind my head a little bit here. Let me get rid of my head for a second here. Not that one. Let's get rid of my head here, and that one. So computer programming, 4.2%. Maybe you can include data analysis and call 0.4 and give it 4.6%, but that's still a stretch. So see, the point here, folks, is that ChatGPT or OpenAI is terrified of this, right? They want to say that it's going to replace every corporate worker. But the reality of the matter is the tutoring or teaching category was at 10.2% and is largely homework help, not professional development. Now, OpenAI wants you to believe that they're transforming software development into the most users are asking to rewrite. But what most users are doing is they're actually asking it to rewrite their dating profile. So TechCrunch reports OpenAI is, quote, upgrading Codex with GPT-5. Notice how they keep announcing upgrades to things that haven't delivered on previous promises. Every new model is supposedly the one that will finally achieve the breakthrough, just like GPT-4 was supposed to. They claim each version gets exponentially better, yet developers still spend most of their time fixing AI-generated code. The pattern is predictable. Announce amazing capabilities, deliver marginal improvements, and then announce the next version, right? This is what we do, rinse, repeat. GPT-5 for coding is following the exact same hype cycle we saw in GPT-4, 3, and every model before that. Real developers know that understanding business logic, architecture, and system design isn't something that you can just pattern match from training data. Now, OpenAI is pivoting hard towards coding because it's ultimately the big enterprise play. Every company has developers that they would love to replace that on that salary line, right? Corporate buyers don't understand code quality. They just see potential headcount reduction. The pitch is irresistible to C-suites. Reduce all your development costs by 25% with our AI. Meanwhile, companies that went all in on AI coding are quietly hiring back senior developers to fix the mess. I've been called on a lot of these projects where people started something, a lot of vibe coding was happening. They thought they could get rid of their developers. They call me in because they're looking for help to clean up the mess. So there's a dirty little secret. AI-generated code creates more technical debt than junior developers ever could. So after building enterprise software for a long time, I've seen developer replacement technology fail time and time again. Now, if your company has systems that aren't connected, reach out to us, because here at Startup Hack, our specialty is connecting systems so that your company can work to maximum efficiency. Check out startuphack.com/Spencer. Now, a lot of other people look at OpenAI's announcements here, and they announced mysteriously that they're mysterious, and man, I have a hard time spitting this one out. OpenAI announcements mysteriously align with Microsoft's stock movement. Every time OpenAI needs funding or attention, suddenly there's a breakthrough announcement about replacing developers. The timing of these claims about GPT-5 and developer replacement isn't coincidental. It's a calculated marketing message. Institutional investors are starting to see through the pattern. Pump the hype, raise the valuation, dilute existing investors. The 25% replacement claim is designed to spike enterprise software companies' fears and drive hasty AI adoption. Wall Street is catching on to these announcements, and that they're more about fundraising than actual technology. Now, Forrest Knight and other prominent developers on X are openly mocking these replacement claims. The developer community has heard these stories before, with no-code tools, with visual programming, with outsourcing, etc. Real programmers understand that coding is maybe 20% of software development. The rest is understanding requirements, architecture, and problem solving. Junior developers using AI tools are creating unmaintainable spaghetti code that senior devs have to completely rewrite. The complexity of modern software systems requires human judgment that AI consistently fails to demonstrate. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't be using AI. You absolutely should. The autocomplete with these new tools is fantastic, and it does make developers about 10 to 20% faster. This has been proven over and over, talked about it here on the channel. But every experienced developer has some horror story about AI-generated code causing production outages. It's already happening. When 28% of ChatGPT usage is, quote, practical guidance, meaning you're relying on it to tell you like whether you should wear a blue dress or a red dress, because you notice a lot of those users were female now, right? Not knocking on females, just saying. But data analysis represents only 0.4% of usage, less than half of a percent. If AI was revolutionizing development, wouldn't developers be using this more? 4.2% for computer programming includes people asking how to center a div in CSS for the millionth time. These usage statistics come from OpenAI's own data. This isn't a skeptical thing. This is actually OpenAI's real data. So the math doesn't add up here. How can AI replacing 25% of the developers when less than 5% of the usage is even programming related? OpenAI is hoping nobody actually looks at the numbers behind these huge claims. And that's what we're seeing over and over and over again from these tech bros. So the technical debt tsunami is coming. Companies that jumped onto AI coding bandwagons are drowning in technical debt from poorly understood generated code. AI can copy patterns, but doesn't understand why certain architectural decisions were made. Security vulnerabilities are mounting, and they're huge in AI-generated code and are becoming massive liabilities. The code looks right, but has subtle flaws. Debugging AI-generated code takes longer than writing it outright sometimes. The hidden cost of AI coding is senior developers' time required to review and fix everything. One Fortune 500 CTO told me off record that they're spending more on fixing AI code than they ever saved trying to implement it. So OpenAI knows executives fear about being left behind more than they fear wasting money. The 25% of developers claims is specifically designed to trigger corporate FOMO. They're not selling to developers. They're selling fear to executives who don't understand technology. Let me say that again. They're not selling to developers. They're selling fear to executives who don't understand technology. Every board meeting now includes, what's our AI strategy? Because of these manufactured panics. Companies are adopting AI not because it works, but because they're terrified their competitors might be implementing it. The real winners are consultants who charge a lot of money implementing AI strategies that don't deliver anything. Now, here at Startup Hack, we make sure that we work to integrate your systems and where it makes sense, implement AI technologies. But we are very cautious, and I just made a video yesterday about how we do it and what some of our strategies are. So go check out that video from yesterday and make sure you like and subscribe. Now, the hallucination problem that nobody wants to talk about. GPT models still confidently generate completely wrong code that looks syntactically correct. So if you don't have somebody who's trained to understand the code, they will miss it. AI doesn't understand context switching between different parts of code bases. It'll happily mix incompatible libraries, outdated syntax, and security vulnerabilities. The confidence with which it presents wrong solutions make junior developers trust too much. Senior developers spend more time verifying AI code than they spend writing it themselves. Now, OpenAI keeps promising the hallucination problem is solved in the next version, but it never has, and in fact, each version, it tends to get worse. Now, OpenAI is hemorrhaging money, and they need enterprise contracts to stay alive. Consumer subscriptions aren't enough. Those $20 subscriptions would take so many billions of subscriptions to match how much, probably trillions of $20 subscriptions to match what they're spending on their compute. Coding is the perfect target because it's expensive, measurable, and executives don't understand it. The 8% revenue share with Microsoft shows they're desperate for distribution channels. They're following the classic Silicon Valley playbook, make impossible promises, raise money on hype, and figure it out later. When GPT-5 fails to replace the 25% or even the 5% of developers that they're promising, they'll blame implementation challenges and announce GPT-6. Now, I'm curious to hear what your guys' thoughts are. As always, the best compliment I can get is to leave a comment down below. So make sure you like and subscribe. Here at Startup Hack, we love to train software developers as well as build custom software solutions. So make sure that you reach out. If your company needs help, check out startuphack.com/Spencer, and here's some great information about our services. Hi, I'm Spencer, a fractional CTO. With over a decade of executive leadership and 25 years in software development, I've transformed technology teams and products for businesses just like yours. As your fractional CTO, you get the strategic guidance of a seasoned technology executive without the full-time commitment, perfect for companies ready to leverage cutting-edge technology without expanding headcount. My team at Startup Hack has already built advanced AI agents for small and medium businesses, automating complex workflows and delivering advanced ROI to human workflows. We specialize in creating custom software that connects your systems into a single coherent technology ecosystem. Our development approach focuses on tangible business outcomes. For one client, we developed AI-powered workflows that cut days off of human processes. For another company, by connecting multiple systems, we reduced processing time to increase their ROI by over 75%. We don't just write code, we architect solutions that scale. Whether you need cloud system architecture, data integration between legacy systems, or custom AI agents that automate your unique business processes, my team delivers results that exceed your expectations. Having led technology for a lot of companies and launched 7 successful brands of my own, I bring battle-tested expertise to your business challenges. Our specialty is turning technological complexity into business advantage. So if you're ready to harness the power of AI and custom software to drive your business forward, let's connect connect. Together, we'll build technology that doesn't just solve today's problems, it positions you for tomorrow's opportunities. Technology leadership, decades of experience, AI powered. Reach out today and we can help you. Check out startuphack.com/Spencer.